So I drop it into drive, and and then I take my foot off the brake, and as I've took my foot off the brake onto the accelerator, dead. Like, proper dead. Like,
now I gotta ride or die.
So many from my channel will know my ultimate dream car. Cadillac 1966 Coupe de Ville. Had the car, sold the car, bought the car back, we're currently engine swapping it. It's going to be a good time. The life I had before YouTube, or the time as it was coming, becoming my job, I had this car. And it was a great promotional tool, yes, but it was my car at the end of the day. So I wanted to take it to car shows. For me, I wanted to take it for the idea that I could make memories with it, because it was a forever car. Yes, we sold it to fund the channel at one point, but thankfully bought it back. It has been one of those things that rotationally, it has always been in my life, this car, and it will always be subsequently in my life forever and ever. And I think one of the best times we had with that, the second biggest road trip I'd ever done in this car, it was actually to Players in Essex. I remember it like it was yesterday. I wanted to take a few days to actually get there and get back. So it was, the drive usually a couple of hours in a normal car. You don't really factor in anything other than driving there and driving back. With an old classic car like that, you've really got to factor in everything. Fuel stops, if it breaks down, it's a slow car, it does 40, 50 mile an hour at a push on the motorway. You've got to factor these things in. So what I did was, on the Saturday, drove up, stayed over. On the Sunday, had the show, and then sort of left, a little bit earlier than usual to make my way back down. That should help with the slower drive and the needing to stop a little bit more. And maybe if you do have a slight breakdown, you've got a couple of hours leeway. You're not stuck stranded at night in the middle of nowhere with this big old car you can't do anything with. So the day starts, we jump on the ferry, it's happy. And we drive up to the M25. This is, would probably take an hour, hour and a half maybe if you're in a normal car. It took us about 2 hours, mainly because, doing 40, 50 mile an hour, just chilling. Not pushing the car, not, taking a piss out of it or anything, nothing too silly. It's not that car, it's not a refined new car, it's not a fast car, and it's not a quickly stopping car either. Even if you do get up to desired speeds of nearly 70 miles an hour, it's going to be very, very hard for you to actually stop this thing. Old technology, old brakes, it's just how it is. We get to the M25, we're just about to turn off, and we're on the M3, turn off at the last junction, services just before the M25, because I thought, if anything's going to happen, we need to chill out anyway. I mean, the smell of fumes sometimes in those cars is prominent. It's a 7 litre 429, it's got a lot of petrol going through it. I'll get a bit more petrol as I'm here anyway, just top it up, keep it happy, don't want to, run it on nothing. I stop for a little drink, the car has a drink, we're all good. 15 minutes pass, happy to go back in, go to the toilet, whatever's happening. I jump in the car, absolutely nothing, like nothing. And I'm like, here we go, I haven't even made it to the show yet, we haven't even made it. We're sort of halfway, I suppose, we haven't really made it halfway because we haven't hit the M25 yet, but that's where the problems would start, because I feel stop-start traffic for an old car, that's where the troubles will start. And yeah, it just wouldn't start. Thankfully, an hour passes, the car cools down, and it starts up. I can only imagine it was something, the car wasn't happy with the heat, maybe how long it was driving, whatever was happening. But it needed that rest. It needed a rest. It let me know it needed a rest, so we had a rest. But we carried on. We drove round to Dartford, just outside Dartford, Premier Inn, parked up across what I believe to be 4 parking bays at the time, because the car wouldn't actually park in one. And I said to the hotel staff, like, I'm really sorry, I've got a really stupid car. Can I park in that corner over there across these bays? They were like, yeah, that's fine, And I said, I know it sounds silly, but I don't really want anyone touching it as well. Very funny about that car. It's an emotional car to me, it is. If you guys out there understand that, then that's cool. If not, then I look weird on the internet again. We park up, they're happy, I'm happy, we leave it. I actually took jumper cables, various bits and bobs I felt like I needed just in case. Thankfully, I got a couple of guys to actually meet us at the hotel that day because we were going to drive to the show. It's only about a 20-minute journey from said hotel to show. So nothing, no stress on the car whatsoever. Jump in the car, dead. We're talking 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, absolutely dead. And I'm talking the lights when you open the door won't even come on. And I was just like, there's a slow drain in the car somewhere. Damn it. Right, okay. Could someone give me a jump start? So we get a lovely, I think it was an M3 E36 at the time. Good lad. And yeah, we jump started it. It was happy. Started up. Going through Dartford Tunnel, all happy. We get to the show. And if you've never been to this show, it's basically on an airfield. Really cool location. Super cool for classic cars, new cars, everything. The picturesque idea of this show is so right. We pull in. Car looks sick now. I'm so happy it's made it. You know, yeah, we've had a couple of problems, but it was going to happen. Nothing crazy mechanical, just sort of electric gremlins, I'm going to say. We pull in, and they want me in one of the big hangars. I was like, cool, hangar's cool. You know, I'm happy with that. And we pull up, you know, knock it into gear, leave it running because it shouldn't overheat. Nothing should really happen to it. It's good. And they're sort of deciding where I'm going to go, and I hear the car going. And it's like slowing down, and I was like, makes him park, like it won't idle. What the hell? So I drop it into drive, and it's and then I take my foot off the brake, and as I've took my foot off the brake onto the accelerator, dead, like proper dead, like it won't start. It's got no battery. It's just like it's gone. So I get a couple of people to push me in, and I'm like, I'm so sorry, everybody. It's not how I wanted this to be, but here we are. We cruise in, being pushed into a show. I drop it down. I was like, right, I've now got a show and I reckon 9 hours to work out what the hell is going on to actually get this thing at home, because I want to drive this home. I ain't low loading it home. I ain't calling the AA out. We're not having it. I am getting this thing home. It is my pride and joy. We're going to see what the problem is. Now, I actually found someone that had a battery charger with them, so I pulled the battery out and actually battery charged it all up and just checked all the earths and stuff. What I still believe that there was a wire in the car somewhere that was happily draining the car. Even when started, it was still draining the car. Whether that contributed to alternator not working properly and maybe undercharging the car, and then vice versa, it would run the battery down and then the car wouldn't run. It's still a funny thing to me. I still can't work out how all that was working, and how it would just die from going from park to drive. But, you know, something wasn't happy in the car. But thankfully, once the battery was charged up and it was nice, did a little cleaning, you know, moving some wires around, making sure everything was right, not too hot as well, making sure the car wasn't too hot where the wires were, just, you know, clipping stuff out of the way. Started up, aired up, drove out. Absolutely fine. At this point, I had pretty much a full tank of petrol as well, which was good. The car, as a 7 litre 429, drinks fuel like a rocket. I believe it was around 170, 180 pounds to actually do that trip to Essex and back. And that was at the time when fuel was relatively cheap. I think it was around 3.5 tanks I did all in. One up, got another one in, and then on the way back down, we drove from Essex all the way around the M25 happily, all the way down, didn't turn the car off. And just as you come into Portsmouth, there is a Shell petrol station. You turn off left and it's on the right, down sort of through near Havant Way. And I was like, I'm looking at the fuel gauge and I'm like, there's a quarter of a tank in there, but do I believe it? And it starts going down, and we're outside Hindhead Tunnel. It's going down. I was like, I'm going to have to stop for fuel somewhere. Something's going to have to give here. We're either going to die on the boat and it's not going to start again because it's got no fuel in it, because it needs a lot of fuel to get running, in my opinion, and it's going to drink a lot of fuel in that process. We're going to have to stop. And as I come up to the bottom of the A3, coming out, you know, through out the bottom of Havant Way, we sort of come off, and I was like, right, Shell petrol station, I'll fill it up there, that's fine. I'm looking at the petrol gauge and I'm like, mate, that is literally, it's gone like that. And I was just thinking, oh God, here we go. It's not going to make it to the ferry. So I pull in, come off the roundabout, underneath the motorway, and it's spluttering. It is spluttering like you would not believe. You could feel it in the car, like it's not happy. It's starving itself of fuel. And I'm like, we need to get rid. And the lights go red, and I was like, no. So I sat there, and it's like blah 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 blah. And I put it in gear, and it's like blah blah blah. It's just not happy. It's starving itself, but it's not starving itself. And as we pull indicator on, pull in to the Shell petrol station, choom, it's dead again. I was just like, no, why? So at least we're at a petrol station at that point. There's food, there's hot coffee, there's light, there's fuel. So, a couple hours to our boat. We've done pretty well on time, if I'm quite honest. But we need to get this thing refueled, start it back up again, and onto the boat. And my connection with that car is quite personal, and it knew full well we had to get the last ferry of the day. Filled it up with Shell, went in, got a quick drink, jumped in the car, started it up straight away like it didn't even happen. Like, literally, like we hadn't just run out of fuel outside of the petrol station. It starts up, happy as Larry. I cruise to the boat, and yeah, we get on the boat, drop it down, take a picture. I'm like, I've made it to the ferry, because if you're on the Isle of Wight, making it to the ferry is the biggest thing, because once you're on the ferry, it's all good. It's good from there. What a way to take a car to a car show, it die multiple times, spend nearly 200 quid on fuel, but I wouldn't change it for the world.